Hey, what's up everyone? Tim here from Everyday Tactical Vids. Today we're looking at this, which is the Puzon Wilderness Bowie, or Bowie, depending on how you pronounce it. If you want to see a video on that topic and this style of knife as a survival knife, check out the link at the end of this video. I worked with Blade HQ and a couple other YouTubers to test out a similar style knife. Anyhow, back to this one. This is from Work Tuff Gear. There's a little crest here. It says Positive Made Blade Design. They are the designers of the actual knife, and Work Tuff Gear has produced it. Big, hefty chopper. I love this style of knife. Able to use it aggressively, and then also with that choil, I'm able to choke up and get some of that detail work done, I'm sure. We do have a lanyard hole here and here as well, or here as well. So it allows you to, run your lanyard like so, like a lot of people like to do to get control over the knife. Yeah, I mean, just a cool looking knife. This thing is gonna be used for aggressive work. So if you're looking for a little detail work knife, this is not it. This is not for carving spoons and bowls. This is for some hefty work. So let me give you the details on the knife. We'll do a little close-up so you can see what it looks like, and then we're gonna take it out into the woods and use it. All right, so it is a full tang knife, meaning that the steel runs all the way from the tip to the end of the knife, end of the handle there. 16.7 inches from end to end, 9.5 for the length of your blade, and 9.3 for your cutting edge. They have a saber grind with a convex cutting edge. I've said this before, but I have yet to get a Work Tuff Gear knife that is not razor sharp. They do a great job sharpening their blades before they send them off to you. 0.23 inches thick, so not a full quarter inch, but I really like that size actually. Quarter inch I could take, but 0.23 has got just a little bit more maneuverability, but still a lot of heft for more aggressive work. So as far as your handle, it is black G10. You can see the red liners there as well. Like I said, you do have that choil, so you can sharpen it all the way down to the end. SK85 for your steel, which they use for a lot of their knives over at Work Tuff Gear, and they do the heat treat really well, and I've never had any issues with that style or type of steel. Now you can get this with a splatter finish. This is more of that kind of black stonewash finish right here. It does come with a sandwich style kydex with two of these Magforce clips on the back. And that goes in like so. I will tell you, because of the heft of the knife, I would recommend that you figure out a way to secure it a little bit more. Maybe it's, run a piece of elastic cord around there that you can put, over the top of the handle or something. Because of the way the knife, if you turn it upside down, you can pretty easily pop this out. If it's on your belt, I don't think it should be a problem as you're just, rocking with it in the woods. But yeah, it's not made to be, set up like this upside down, because it's gonna pretty easily fall out of the sheath. All right, so with that said, let me show you some close-ups of the knife so you can get a close look at it. All right, I'm back, guys. It's been a little over a week or so since I shot that opening section to the video. A lot of the snow has melted. You can see there's a lot less snow here in the background. Windy day here in New Hampshire, so you're probably going to hear some of that on the video. But we're going to put this thing through the paces, see how it works at some of those larger chopping tasks, some batoning. We'll do some carving, see if we can get a fire started. So yeah, let's see how this thing works for us. Let's do a little chopping on this dead stump here. Let's take a close-up look now at some of the chopping that we did. Let's finish this up here. Quick look at some feathers we got. Got this tree that's growing behind my house, just kind of in a weird spot. So, but there's some small kind of like suckers growing off of it, so we're just gonna hack those off and see how this does at some of that kind of clearing work. Alright guys, sun is starting to set here in New Hampshire. I'm going to be wrapping up for today, but I'm going to keep using this thing off camera in future use, and then I'll come back and report into you what I think about it. First thing I'll tell you is that the lanyard is fine, but it's not really adding a whole lot because I feel like I have really good control over it just based on the size of this little kind of hook and how I can lock my hand in, the thickness of the blade or the handle. I will tell you that based on the thickness of the handle, if you have like small to small medium hands, this may be too big for you, honestly. I like a big beefy handle, but this thing is definitely large. So just a heads up on that. Overall, it's performed well. Because of the length of the blade, throwing sparks off that fire seal is definitely a bit of work. You can see right here, I tried to work it as close as I could to the handle. You just have more control as opposed to out here. Plus the stump I was working with was kind of rocking around. So yeah, it just made the whole thing a little bit less stable than I would have liked. But yeah, this thing's been fun. It's worked well so far. Let me show you a shot of it in the sheath and on my belt. Again, I'm gonna encourage you to crank down those screws on or the bolts on the sheath, or to add another kind of form of retention just because of the weight of this thing. Like I said, on your belt, it should be okay, but if you put it on a pack, I'd be a little bit nervous this thing might pop out of the pack. So let me show you what it looks like on my belt in the sheath, and then we're gonna wrap up for today, and then I'll come back and give you some thoughts after I've had a chance to use this thing some more. All right, so there's a look at it on my belt. One thing I can tell you is it does right up high. I mean, this is right here in my ribs. The nice thing about that though is that I feel like because it's got a little side pressure when I'm walking, this is less likely to just kind of randomly pop out. By the length of the MagForce clips, this thing can move a little bit up and down, but that's good if you're climbing up and over something. But overall, you know, it's gonna have a little forward and back movement based on your belt loops. But like I said, when it's on your hip, not so worried. If it's on a pack, especially like the back of a pack as you're hiking, I want to lock this thing in a little bit more securely. As mentioned before, lanyard, I can kind of take it or leave it, but here's what it looks like to take it out. And then just be careful putting it back in, like that, ready to rock and roll. Alright guys, we're back here. I've had a chance to use this both on and off camera. Let me give you some final thoughts on the Work Tuff Gear Puzon Wilderness Bowie. And yeah, I mean, I like it overall. If you're looking for a big hefty chopper, this is one you should definitely check out. This is not meant to be, you know, you're doing tons of carving and detail work. Because of that choil, you can choke up and do a little bit more carving. But if you're going to be making bowls and spoons and stuff like that, get something smaller. I think this combined with a smaller knife would be a great system. You know, this for the hefty chopping and some of the more aggressive work, and then something like an RB3 or an SCCR 2.5, something like that, a little bit more compact. The thing that jumps out to me the most about this is the thickness of the handle. Probably the thickest handle I've ever had on a knife. I like it. Like I said before, if you have small to small medium sized hands, it may actually be a little bit too big for you. But yeah, I mean, I think for something this big, you want to make sure you got really strong, you know, grip on it. You don't want to have to be kind of maneuvering your hand a ton. Like I said before, the lanyard, you can set it up like this. You can also set it up looped through that hole right. Let's see if I can show it to you right there. I didn't need a lanyard for this when I was chopping. I didn't have any concern about it flying out of my hand, just by the nature of kind of how it feels in hand. It worked great for me. Just a cool looking style overall blade. You know, that clip point, I think it's kind of cool. SK85 again. These guys have they've done a good job with the heat treat, and it's been a good steel for me. I haven't had any issues, and it's still, after quite a bit of use, it's quite sharp. Over on the Work Tuff Gear website, these are running at $229 right now, so I've got links down below in the description section if you want to head over there to pick up one of these knives, tools, choppers, massive cutting objects. Now your weight for this is 30 ounces, so it's definitely not a little dinky knife. This thing has got some heft to it. That's again why I would say when you put it in the Kydex, add some extra retention to it just so it doesn't slide out accidentally. But yeah, I mean, this thing has got some weight, so when you're swinging and chopping, it's really gonna do some work for you. So any changes I would make in this, in future versions of this, one thing I would do, it's not terrible, but I would smooth out this kind of flattened, just round those edges a little bit more. Maybe it was just on mine, but when you do choke all the way up there, there is a little bit, just a tiny bit of an edge there. So I'd like to see that rounded out a little bit. But really, that's it. Other than that, you know, this thing, it's worked well. It's comfortable to use. You can really lock your hand in back like this on the blade when you're doing some hacking with it. And yeah, it's performed nicely. Just to show you again, those red liners with the black. Red and black are the Everyday Tactical Vids colors, so I like that. It's kind of a little bonus for me. Lines up with my channel nicely. So I've looked at a bunch of different Work Tuff Gear knives over the years. The Atayal is one of my favorites. The Red Wolf I've liked a lot. The Kitsune I liked. It's just not a knife I'm going to use a lot. It's just too small for me, and I don't generally EDC a fixed blade, but it functioned well. This is definitely a knife that I plan on putting through the paces and using quite a bit more. Just, I got to find a system to, you know, to connect this with. Like I said, a larger knife and a smaller knife. But yeah, I look forward to getting this thing out into the wilderness and using it a bit more. Sunlight is kind of crazy this morning, so I'm just keep adjusting my location, but want to give you some nice shots of this before we close out the video. Puzon Wilderness Bowie, whatever you want to call it. This thing's a bear. Cool tool from Work Tuff Gear. I've really liked it. So let's hear your thoughts on it. Changes, what would you add? What would you take away? You know, other features, bells and whistles. Let's hear your thoughts down in the comment section. All right, guys, thanks as always for checking out the videos here on YouTube. Please subscribe to Everyday Tactical Vids if you haven't done so already. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Check us out on Instagram, Tumblr, and Vero as well. More videos coming soon. Take care.